The most powerful conversation you will ever have is not with your friends, your family, or even your mentor. It's the one happening silently in your mind. For 3 days, I challenge you. Change the way you speak to yourself and watch how your energy, your confidence, and your entire life begins to shift. If your inner voice has the power to break you, then it also has the power to rebuild you. When you wake up in the morning, before the world places its weight on your shoulders, there is already a voice speaking inside your mind. Sometimes it's gentle, sometimes harsh, but it is always there. That voice is your mirror. The way you speak to yourself reflects the way you see yourself, and the way you see yourself shapes every action, every decision, and every emotion that follows. If the first thing you hear when you look in the mirror of your mind is, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll probably fail again," then your day already begins with a shadow. But if the first reflection you give yourself is, "I am capable, I am calm, I am ready," you carry light into the hours ahead. Think about it. Most of us would never say to another person the cruel things we say silently to ourselves. We would not look at a friend and tell them, "You are worthless," or "You'll never succeed." Yet somehow, we allow those exact words to echo inside our own heads. For 3 days, I want you to notice that voice. Don't try to fight it yet. Don't try to silence it. Just observe. Every time it speaks, recognize that it is showing you the mirror of your inner world. And remember, a mirror does not choose what it reflects. It only shows what you place in front of it. When you begin to notice the constant stream of self-talk, you will realize how automatic it has become. Like a river that has carved its path for years, your mind flows into familiar patterns without effort. If those patterns are negative, then the river only deepens its destructive course. But the same is true for positive thoughts. If you place them in your self-talk, the river begins to carve a new path. You are not trapped by the mirror. You are the one deciding what it reflects. Imagine standing in front of a real mirror every morning. If you frown at yourself, criticize every flaw, your reflection will never smile back. But if you soften your gaze, if you stand tall, if you say to yourself, "This day belongs to me," the reflection shifts. Nothing in the mirror changed. It was you who changed, and the mirror simply followed. That is how self-talk works. It does not create who you are, it amplifies who you choose to be. For these 3 days, I want you to experiment with a very simple practice. Every time you catch yourself thinking something unkind, pause and ask, "Would I say this to someone I love?" If the answer is no, then you already know it doesn't belong in your inner mirror. Replace it with something that lifts, even if it feels strange at first. If your mind says, "I can't handle this," shift it to, "I will take it step by step." If your mind says, "I am not enough," change it to, "I am becoming stronger every day." Do not underestimate these small shifts. They are seeds. When planted consistently, they will grow roots in your identity. The beauty of this practice is that you don't need anyone else to begin. No teacher, no mentor, no approval. It is just you and your voice. And when you take control of that voice, you take control of the mirror. You no longer wait for others to define your worth or reflect your strength back to you. You learn to reflect it for yourself. So as you begin these 3 days, remember this truth: yourself talk is your mirror, and you are the one holding it. The words you choose to speak to yourself are not just sounds echoing in your mind. They are the raw material with which your identity is built. Every time you say, "I am this," or "I am not that," you are laying a brick in the foundation of who you become. Over time, those bricks create the walls of your self-image, and those walls are what you walk within every day of your life. If you constantly repeat to yourself that you are weak, unworthy, or incapable, then those words do not stay as mere thoughts. They harden into belief, and that belief shapes how you act, how you show up, and even how others begin to perceive you. Think about it. The most powerful statements you can ever make begin with 2 words. "I am." These are not just descriptions. They are instructions to your mind and body. When you say, "I am strong," your posture shifts, your energy rises, your focus sharpens. When you say, "I am tired, I am not good enough, I am a failure," your shoulders drop, your motivation dissolves, and your spirit feels heavy. The body listens to the mind, and the mind listens to the words you feed it. That is why being intentional with self-talk is not just a positive habit. It is an act of identity creation. For 3 days, try to notice the labels you give yourself. Most of them will not be dramatic. They will sound ordinary, almost invisible. I'm just not good at this. I'm always unlucky. I can't handle pressure. But every time you say these words, you are reinforcing a role you've assigned to yourself. You wear it like a costume, and without realizing it, you perform the script that comes with it. And yet, when you begin to change those words, when you choose to say instead, I am learning, I am building patience, I am growing through challenges, you rewrite the script. You give yourself permission to be more than what your past self believed. Some people think affirmations are about lying to yourself, pretending to be something you are not. That is not the case. It is not about saying, I am perfect, when you know you are not. It is about aligning your words with the direction you want your life to go. If a seed says, I am already a tree, it may not yet be true in form, but it is true in essence. The seed contains the tree within it. In the same way, when you say, I am disciplined, even if you are still learning discipline, you are speaking to the seed that already exists inside you. With repetition, that seed grows into reality. The danger lies in repeating words that hold no growth, no life, no possibility. Every time you declare, I am worthless, you are watering weeds. Every time you declare, I am not good enough, you are reinforcing a cage around yourself. But when you say, I am resilient, I am focused, I am worthy of love, you are watering the roots of your future self. So for these 3 days, I challenge you to choose carefully what follows the words. I am. Write them down, repeat them, whisper them when no one is listening. Let those words echo louder than the noise of doubt, louder than the judgments of others. Because the words you give yourself are not just sounds. They are the blueprint of who you become. You become what you say after, I am. Most people move through life as their own harshest critic. The mind becomes a courtroom, and every mistake, every hesitation, every imperfection is placed on trial. The voice inside does not forgive easily. It reminds you of past failures, exaggerates your flaws, and whispers that you are not enough. And when this voice becomes constant, it doesn't feel like criticism anymore, it feels like truth. But here is the shift. What if, instead of acting as your worst critic, you chose to act as your greatest coach? Think about the difference. A critic points at what is wrong and stops there. A coach also sees what is wrong, but they offer direction, encouragement, and belief that you can improve. When you make a mistake, the critic says, see, you're useless. The coach says, this didn't work. Let's adjust and try again. Both voices acknowledge the same event, but one destroys while the other builds. For 3 days, I want you to begin replacing your inner critic with an inner coach. When you say to yourself, I can't do this, pause and reframe it. Say instead, I am learning how to do this. When you catch yourself saying, I failed, shift it to, I am growing through this experience. This is not about pretending mistakes don't exist. It is about changing the role you assign to them. A critic sees failure as proof that you are not capable. A coach sees failure as a necessary part of training. And you already know that no athlete, no master, no skilled professional has ever reached excellence without going through countless failures. The critic thrives on finality. It tells you, this is who you are, and you cannot change. The coach thrives on possibility. It reminds you, this is where you are, and this is where you can go. The critic narrows your world, the coach expands it. That is why the shift matters so deeply. If you spend your life listening to the critic, you will shrink into the smallest version of yourself. But if you allow the coach to guide you, you will grow into the fullest expression of who you were meant to be. The next time you stumble, ask yourself, if a close friend came to me with this same problem, how would I respond? Would I tell them they are hopeless, or would I encourage them, remind them of their strengths, and guide them forward? Whatever words you would give to someone you love, give those same words to yourself. This is how you transform self-talk from criticism into coaching. At first, it will feel unnatural. The critic's voice may be louder because it has been rehearsed for years. But do not confuse volume with truth. A lie repeated 1,000 times can still feel louder than a truth spoken once. That is why for 3 days you must practice. Every time the critic speaks, answer it with the coach. Every time the critic pushes you down, let the coach extend a hand. Over time, the coach's voice will become stronger, clearer, and more natural than the critic's ever was. Your life does not need another critic. The world will provide plenty of them. What you need is a coach inside your mind who reminds you that you are capable of growth, that setbacks are stepping stones, and that every challenge is training your strength. Be the coach you always wished you had. The words you use are not just empty sounds. They carry weight, they carry energy, and they shape the emotions that rise within you. Most people do not realize how much language influences the way they feel. They believe emotions come first and words simply follow, but often it is the other way around. The words you speak to yourself are the sparks that ignite your emotional fire. If you want to feel differently, you must first speak differently. When you face a challenge and tell yourself, "This is too hard," notice what happens. Your body feels heavy, your mind becomes restless, and your motivation weakens. The words drain your strength before you even take the first step. But if in the same moment you say, "This is a challenge," your body reacts differently. The word challenge signals the mind to prepare, to focus, to rise. The situation has not changed, but your language has, and with it, your emotional state transforms. The words you choose are like commands to the mind. Say, "I'm stuck," and your emotions tighten, trapping you in frustration. Say, "I'm learning," and suddenly you feel open, curious, willing to try again. Say, "I'm broken," and you will feel powerless. Say, "I'm healing," and you will feel a quiet strength beginning to return. The difference may look small on the surface, but over time, it creates a vast distance between who you become in your daily life. For 3 days, I want you to become aware of how often your emotions are dictated by the labels you attach to your experiences. Pay attention to the words you choose when you describe your day, your problems, your efforts. Do you call them burdens, or do you call them lessons? Do you say, "I'm overwhelmed," or do you say, "I'm being stretched"? Every word carries an emotional code, and your body cannot help but respond to it. Even the way you describe yourself shapes your inner state. When you say, "I'm anxious," you attach that emotion to your identity. But when you say, "I'm experiencing anxiety right now," notice how it shifts, it creates space. The feeling no longer defines you. It is simply something passing through you. That one change in language opens a door to freedom. It is the same with anger, sadness, fear, or doubt. If you allow them to become your identity, they will control you. But if you treat them as temporary states, you regain the power to move beyond them. And the bridge between being controlled by emotions and mastering them is built through words. So for these 3 days, be deliberate. Replace words that trap you with words that free you. Instead of saying, "I'm exhausted," say, "I'm recharging." Instead of saying, "I hate this," say, "I'm learning patience." Instead of saying, "I'll never succeed," say, "I'm preparing for success." Each time you shift your language, you shift your emotional reality. This is not about pretending everything is easy or ignoring struggle. It is about understanding that words are tools. If you use them carelessly, they can cut and wound. But if you use them wisely, they can build, strengthen, and heal. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can always choose the language you use to meet it. And when you choose words that empower, your emotions will follow in alignment. Change your words, and you change the way you feel. Your inner voice is not only shaping your thoughts, it is setting the rhythm of your entire energy. Every word you speak to yourself carries a vibration. It either lifts you higher or pulls you lower. You can feel this in your own body. When you speak words of encouragement, there is a lightness in your chest. Your breathing deepens. Your body feels strong. But when you repeat words of doubt or self-criticism, you notice the opposite. The shoulders tighten, the breath shortens, and the body feels heavy. Your self-talk is not just in the mind. It is echoing through every cell of your being. This is why for 3 days, I want you to treat your words as fuel. Imagine that every sentence you speak to yourself is feeding the energy with which you move through the day. If you begin the morning with, "I am tired, I don't want to do this, today will be difficult," then the fuel you've poured into yourself is toxic. You will walk into the day already weakened. But if you wake and say, "I am awake, I am grateful, I am ready to take on what comes," you are fueling yourself with strength, and your body responds to that command. Think of a warrior before battle. The way they prepare themselves is not only through physical training, but through the words they speak. A warrior does not walk into the fight saying, "I am weak, I will probably lose." They speak words of power, words of readiness, words that align their mind, body, and spirit into one. That same principle applies to your daily life. Every challenge you face is its own battle, and the way you talk to yourself before you step into it determines how much energy you carry with you. It is not enough to simply hope for strength. You must speak strength into yourself. If you feel fear, acknowledge it, but then tell yourself, "I am courageous enough to move forward." If you feel tired, acknowledge it, but then say, "I still carry the energy to finish this." Do not let your self-talk drain your energy before you even begin. Instead, let it charge you. What many people don't realize is that energy is contagious. The frequency of your self-talk does not stay locked inside your mind. It radiates outward in your tone, in your presence, in the way others experience you. When you speak with words that are heavy, others feel that weight around you. But when you fuel yourself with words of confidence and gratitude, that energy spreads. You don't just raise yourself, you raise the space around you. So for these 3 days, pay attention to how your words align your energy. Speak to yourself as if you are preparing for something greater, as if you are charging your spirit for the life you want to live. Even when things are difficult, remind yourself, "This is my training. Every challenge is adding to my strength." That shift alone can turn exhaustion into resilience, frustration into patience, and doubt into determination. Do not underestimate the power of your own words. They are the frequency that sets your energy, the fuel that drives your spirit, and the preparation for the battles of life. Speak to yourself like a warrior fueling for victory. 3 days may sound like nothing. 72 hours, just a handful of mornings and nights passing by the same way they always do. But when you dedicate those 3 days to speaking to yourself with intention, something subtle begins to shift. The mind is not an empty canvas, it is a garden. And every word you plant in it is a seed. For years, perhaps you have been planting weeds without noticing. Words of doubt, words of criticism, words that choke the soil of your potential. In 3 days, you cannot remove every weed, but you can begin to plant something new. And the moment you plant differently, you change the direction of your growth. It is easy to underestimate the small. We think transformation must come with grand events, with breakthroughs that shake the ground beneath us. But in reality, transformation is born in the quiet, consistent practices that seem almost too simple to matter. The way you speak to yourself for 3 days will not instantly rewrite your entire life, but it will begin to carve a new path in your mind. And once that path is made, even faintly, it becomes easier to follow again and again until it becomes the natural road you walk. Think about the power of habit. The first time you do something new, it feels awkward, unnatural. Your mind resists because it is used to the old patterns. But the more often you repeat it, the smoother it becomes, the more familiar it feels, until one day, you no longer need to remind yourself, you simply live it. Self-talk works in the same way. For 3 days, you are teaching your mind a new language, and just like any language, it begins with repetition. Speak words of strength often enough, and they begin to feel like truth. Speak words of worthiness, and soon your mind stops resisting them. Speak words of gratitude, and you begin to notice more in your life to be grateful for. The beauty of these 3 days is that they do not end on the 3rd night. They are a doorway. Once you have experienced the difference of feeding yourself words that empower instead of words that weaken, you will not want to return to the old ways. Even if the critic's voice returns, you will recognize it. You will see it for what it is, a weed trying to grow again. and you will know you have the power to plant differently. Do not measure the change only by what happens outside of you in those 3 days. The real shift is happening within. It is in the way your shoulders begin to carry themselves higher, the way your eyes look with more clarity, the way your heart feels just a little lighter. These are signs that the seeds are taking root. And once a seed has taken root, time and consistency will bring the harvest. So do not dismiss 3 days as too little. 3 days of intention can be the beginning of a lifetime of transformation. It is not about perfection. It is about starting. If you begin now with these small steps, you are already walking a different path than the one you were on yesterday. And the more you walk it, the more it becomes who you are. 3 days of speaking to yourself with intention is enough to plant a seed that can grow into the life you have always wanted.